Yeah. It's all. Oh, really? All right, I'll keep that in mind. I'll shift it if it gets too extreme. Very confident.
Yeah, there's sort of a fine line between like helping out the stand-up, not you or anything like that, helping out the stand-up comedian and talking to like stuff. Because I don't know if you've noticed with this one, like, very jam, I always have
Yeah, clap it up, everybody! Woo! Hello, welcome again. And were you guys here earlier? Is this your first? Oh, clap it up! Yeah, we need you to enjoy this film screening. So this is great. Welcome to the Evolution Asian American Arts Festival, produced by AAAC, the Asian American Arts Chicago. We want to say a special thank you to our hosts, the Looking Glass Theater. Yay! I'm Becca. I'm the MC for the film showcase. Are you enjoying the festival?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, great. Okay. Well, we've actually got over 90 performers and almost 30 vendors across this 2-day extravaganza. And we are just doing this all to welcome in AAPI Heritage Month with some arts and some culture. The AAAC is a 501c3 not-for-profit organization, and every donation you make to us supports Asian American creativity and excellence. So to donate, we have QR codes on the door and all around the building. So if you got like a little extra cash, coming in, you can even just throw some change into a donation box. We'll take every amount because every amount makes a difference. So thank you. To learn more about the performers, vendors, and artists, just go to our website, AAAC.art. And you can tip the performers, you can tip your bartenders, and we thank you again for supporting the arts. Also, please turn off your phone, just so it's on silent. And also, if you need to enter and exit, we have 2 film screenings for this session. So if you need to go somewhere on emergency, obviously leave, but it would be great if when I'm talking or we're in between films, you just enter and exit as you need to. Great. So we'll be seeing a film screening from Katie Wester's piece and also Leena Kurishingal's. And what's really great about Katie, well, here's a little about Katie Wester. Katie is a Vietnamese photographer whose work is celebrated for capturing the quiet rhythm of existence and raw intimacy within a location. Today, she presents Vietnam, the Never Ending Prelude.
You'd think that each time I came back here, it would get easier, that it would feel more healing. But honestly, it's just more confusing. Every time I return, I leave with more questions than answers. And somewhere along the way, the person I thought I was, the one who was always so sure of herself, starts to disappear. My parents did an incredible job explaining adoption to me. I've always known where I'm from. I've always known I was Vietnamese. They taught me that different didn't mean less. It meant special. I've always been proud to be both adopted and Vietnamese. I laughed off the racist jokes, even though I made myself the target sometimes just to fit in. Back then, pride was enough. Until it wasn't. It wasn't until college that I started to feel the cracks. That's when I made my first real group of Asian friends. Friends who were Asian, as some would say. And suddenly I started noticing the differences. One of my closest friends was half white and half Korean. I once told her that I was sad because I wanted to celebrate Tet but didn't have anyone to share it with. She looked at me and said, "Why does Tet matter to you? You're basically white." And just like that, the conversation ended. A part of me started believing her. The first time I came back to Vietnam, it felt like a welcome party. The locals obviously stared as a bus full of mostly white students had their face plastered to the window. But then they saw me, and it was different. Or at least it felt different. Their smiles got bigger, their waves turned into peace signs. It was like they were saying, "Welcome home. We missed you." I still had questions though. I still wondered why every other Asian assumed I was Vietnamese. But when I told Vietnamese people I was from here, they looked at me confused. I didn't blame them though. All racial groups have a set of shared features, and admittedly, I didn't see the resemblance either. This time, I thought I knew what I was walking into. I knew it would be emotional. I knew it would probably have a breakdown. I knew that I wouldn't get any answers. And yet the world just so happens to be very cruel. I thought coming here would feel like opening a door. Instead, it slammed shut. Later, I learned why though. Orphanage directors get very guarded when adoptees come back, especially if we start asking questions or try to volunteer. There's a fear that old, underhanded practices might be uncovered, even if they weren't directly involved. Through association and through the idea of face, they carry some of the guilt as well. And yet, despite the walls, the universe had other plans. I came here with no plan, no itinerary, no translator. I was lucky I even got a paycheck right before the trip started. The idea was simple: find my orphanage, check it off the list, then be a silly little tourist for the rest of the time being. But nothing went the way I expected. The first week was chaos. I got food poisoning so bad I couldn't eat for days. And of course, my brain spun into something deeper. Was my body rejecting my country? Or was my country rejecting me? But then the threads started connecting. I met my internet friend of 6 years for the first time, and he insisted on helping me put together some type of plan for Tainan. I made friends who invited me to volunteer at an orphanage in Saigon, which cracked open boxes I didn't even know I locked shut. As my days in Saigon started to come to an end, I finally boarded a bus for Tainan. 2 hours in, I realized I had no idea where to get off. Apparently, the first destination was a rest area, and the bus driver guided me to the bathroom, which just leaves me confused. This was the moment everyone realized I was just a silly little American. And of course, as the Vietnamese do, they make sure I get to where I need to be. Once I settled into my hotel, I spent a couple days grounding myself before I finally started searching for my orphanage. I hopped into a car and visited the first one on the list. I knew instantly it wasn't mine. Still, I stayed, hoping to volunteer and maybe find some type of connection. That's when the rejections began. I showed him a photo of my orphanage, and he recognized it immediately, told me where it was and everything he remembered about it. But when it came to volunteering, rejected. I went somewhere else, rejected. Eventually, someone circled back without realizing the weight of what they were doing, gave me everything I needed to know. I didn't understand it fully at the time due to the language barrier, but looking back, that conversation unlocked everything. Back at the hotel, the questions started surfacing whenever I asked to extend my stay. When the staff learned why I was here, they wanted to help. One night, the receptionist invited me to join him and a few others for dessert and tea because apparently I looked lonely and sad. I thought it would just be a casual hangout, but instead, it turned into answers. We started talking about my story. I showed them my baby pictures. They asked if they could share them in local Facebook groups, and then, of course, I said yes. Apparently, the hotel owner had been contacted as well. He called asking if I needed help. I shrugged it off, but then the phone was handed to me. He starts with a casual, "Hey, what's up? How are you?" Once he learned all the details of everything I had experienced during my search, he made arrangements for his brother and mother to pick me up to take me to the place where everyone knows about, but has yet to tell me where to go. We pulled up to what's now a sewing shop. We spoke to the women who worked there. They learned my story. I spoke to potential investigators and waited for answers. While I waited, I went on a date. I thought it would be a fun distraction, but halfway through, I asked if we could swing by the orphanage again so I could take photos inside this time. The other women who I didn't get to meet the first time were really excited to have me. Everyone crowded around my date, asking questions while I ran off to take pictures where my room used to be. As we were looking at my baby photos, a woman saw someone familiar. She casually points out, "Hey, I know her. She lives down the road." Mind you, I have no clue what's being said until it was translated to me and plans were already being made. By the time I processed everything, we were already on our way to her house. We went door to door asking where she lived when we finally found it, but she wasn't there. Of course, we made a plan to come back, but just as we were leaving, her car pulls up. She recognized my baby pictures immediately, invited me inside, and shared stories from the past. I visited her multiple times after that. Each visit came with a new discovery. In one visit, she called me by my Vietnamese name, Trin, and without thinking, I answered. It's as if Katie never existed. She told me I was one of the youngest to ever be dropped off, and then, almost suddenly, I was surrounded by people, other kids who were there when I was, now adults with lives of their own. We grew up on opposite sides of the world, but somehow, in this tiny moment, it felt like we belonged to each other again. I hate to tell you this, but I've basically wasted your time with this documentary. I can't give you answers, because I don't even have them. For me, and for a lot of other adoptees, this is a journey we'll spend a lifetime searching through. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. It just means we have more layers to appreciate than most. These layers aren't a burden. They're the texture of our stories. Somewhere in the middle of all this chaos, I found something I didn't know what I was looking for. Family. The people who worked at my hotel became my people. They spent their days off with me. They took me to hidden spots only locals know, and made sure I wasn't wandering this country completely alone. When they found out it was my gotcha day, they insisted on celebrating with me. That was the part I didn't expect. To come searching for my past, and instead, find pieces of a future. A future I didn't even know I wanted. So the only thing I can tell you is what's next. I'll continue sharing other people's stories while I discover my own. I want to start programs to help orphanages in ways that actually matter. I want to document Vietnamese immigrants from the war, learn how their stories became buried, and bring them back into the light. I want to travel, not just to see places, but to see people, because every story deserves to be shared. And no, this isn't the end. If anything, it's just the beginning to a never-ending prelude.
Yeah, clap it up! Wow! Oh my goodness. Katie, do you want to come up here and we can just talk a little bit about the film process. So, what made you make this film?